Early peeps, hope you're doing well. So, I'm hoping I can keep this a relatively short and sweet video. See how that one goes. A couple of things I wanted to talk about. Now, obviously, for the most part, I talk about men going their own way and some of the associated, air quotes, associated groups. It's come about recently over here in the UK, whereas I believe it was a barrister wanted to declare incel groups, communities online as terrorists. And I thought about that, and my first thoughts on that, so I'm just going to do a quick search while I sort of talk about it. My first thoughts on that were, well, for starters, only a woman would come up with that, right? But I'm going to actually find out purely because I'm curious more than anything. Right, so what have we got here? What was this one? The 31st? No, the 13th of August. 17th of August. But, you know, I mean, look, I'm not even going to go into it. I'm going to assume it was a woman, right? And that's I know that's pretty bad of me, but there's a reason why I say it, right? It's because women don't understand men. It is literally as simple as that. And a lot of the time, they've got no interest in wanting to understand men, because why would they? You know, the society is being set up in such a way that women literally have all the privileges now. You know, I covered, the last video that I did was regarding, in fact, what even was it called? Privileges for women in 2021, you know. Whereas the murder, the atrocity that happened to t3rr0r1sts then kicked off many different girl power advocate groups, and with that they want to make the streets safer, which is what I was saying in the other video. And the message I was trying to get across, it's like, well, what about all these kids that are knifing each other up in the street? That's been going on for years, but no one's ever addressed that. No one's ever really done anything. I mean, they did, was it when we had Amber Rudd as the Home Secretary, and I did a video on this a couple of years ago, and whereas their solution was to make it so that buying zombie knives is illegal on the internet. It's like, how's that going to solve anything? It's like they're not necessarily just going out and buying these things online. It's like they're school kid age a lot of the time. They're going into their mother's kitchen drawer. They're using whatever they have at the disposal. Simple as that. Now, you could argue for all sorts of gang mentality or gang culture with that, and you could probably be right to a degree. But then this is just it. When you, and it's the kind of knock-on effect of that, in whereas they want to, like, they're talking about potentially classifying incel communities as terrorists. I'll tell you what, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to take that notoriety and they're going to wear that badge of honour. That's what they're going to do. That's what tells me it's like people really have not thought about that. You know, they don't think about the long-term effect of the decisions that they're going to make. Oh yeah, we'll make them a terrorist group. It's like, you don't even understand them. They're not on a personal level. And then when someone does act up and they do commit some form of atrocity, you know, and I'm not saying to not spread it over, not make news of it. I mean, media love that kind of shit anyway, because they make money off of it. Plus they get to insult someone and, you know, get on their high horse about they're so important and all of that. And it's just sort of like, yeah, they're not, but, you know, like the media aren't that important. They're just, you know, selling a story. Sure, they're making a load of money off of it, but, you know, they're defecating all over the lives of people that haven't done anything. They're just part of a group because they're trying to relate to a situation that they think or that they class themselves to be in. Whether it is men going their own way, you know, the SPLC considers them to be some sort of hate group, but it's like they're not. Legitimately not. Do they say bad words on the internet? Probably, right? Let's be real. They probably do. But do they not also tell the truth about, air quotes, female nature? Maybe they're talking about their personal experiences with some of the crazier side of women. But they don't, you know, this side of it never gets taken into consideration. It's just like, oh, it's just a man's fault. And of course, the only way you can deal with that is just, you know, shame them, blame them, and then throw them in prison and just treat them like a second-class citizen. Because that's always worked really well, hasn't it? You know, you always get the best results from treating people that way. Not 100% sarcasm on that one, in case anyone needs like that pointing out. But it's a sad, you know, it's a sad day when you've got, I think it was a barrister that suggested it. It wasn't sort of a politician. It was a barrister that suggested making incel groups terrorists, and sort of like, or akin to terrorists. It's like, when you consider the amount of, and I don't actually know, I've never been on their forums, but I'm sure there's more than like 5 or 6 of them, like individuals. Like there's going to be hundreds of thousands, I dare say, quite easily, right? Considering the amount of incidences or atrocities, however you want to see it, that don't happen, right? By comparison to the amount of guys that are in these, air quotes, online groups, online communities, yeah, it just doesn't make sense. You know, but again, like, and to put the shoe on the other foot. Now, when you talk about religion in the same sort of thing, oh, all of a sudden there's a problem. You know, I'm talking about the religion of peace. You know, read into that however you will, but it's like, you know, it's one of them. The religion of peace that hasn't been had some of its individuals act as gangs, and then proceeds to groom, rape, and traffic young girls up and down the UK. But you're not allowed to talk about that. You know, there's a problem. You'll get called all the ists and the isms as a result of doing that. But when you want to blame incels for your problems, then that's just fine. You know, and this is one of the things that really sort of gripes me. I've given a lot of thought to this, you know, in terms of how I deal with people sometimes on the internet, and you know, I'm just as bad as some of the others, I suppose. You know, and it's that thing of, you know, you get all sorts of stuff thrown about, and a lot of the time it is just the internet, right? It is just words. It doesn't, on the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter. But it's like the amount of times, I mean, I've been called incel on the channel. It's like, the poor bloke didn't even realise I was probably banging his mother at the time anyway, but yeah, somehow I'm an incel, just saying. And I said probably not was, just saying, just to clarify on that one. Anyway, but all jokes aside, it's like the amount of times people just use what is, I suppose, a definition of someone that considers themselves to be involuntary celibate. You know, that they're that ugly maybe, or something, that they can't get a girl, or that they're emotionally unavailable, or they don't know how to act around women and show themselves up in a way, or embarrass themselves or whatever, and as a result the women end up not being interested. But to then use that word as an insult against someone, you know, so I'll use it here as an example. It's like, oh, you dirty incel. I mean, look, sure, I've used that before, admittedly, on people, mostly because I'm from the subculture of Migto and Red Pill. So I use it in a sense where it's like, yeah, they're probably not, but it's like, you know, they probably don't know what it is, they don't know what an incel is. But the thing is, if you say to someone that is an incel, they're going to know exactly what you mean. And that's going to cause a problem. You know, that's when, you know, guys can get potentially pushed over the edge. And then, like I say, when it comes down to people not understanding how, you know, the problems that guys have in today's day and age, I mean, incel, I wouldn't say is necessarily a phenomenon. It is something that has happened. I suppose maybe it is actually. It's something that has happened over the years. And I've addressed this in a couple of videos, and it's just sort of like, well, long, tall and short of it, coming from a mid-toe perspective, it's like you're not really missing out on much anyway. You're just saving yourself a shit ton of heartbreak, and a shit ton of financial loss. So, you know, but again, like I say, it boils down to people not wanting to understand men's issues on the basis that they just don't care. It's easy just to brand all men as being bad, brand MGTOW as being a hate group, brand incels as being terrorists, and, you know, eventually people just take the notoriety and be like, alright then, well, in that case, I'm gangster as fuck because I belong to this subculture. That's all it's going to come down to. It's not going to achieve anything good. It means that any atrocities that get caused as a result will get celebrated for all the wrong reasons. And why? Because people didn't want to take out the time to give a shit about men's issues. That's what it comes down to. But anyway, that's all I've got for this one. So, thoughts, comments and opinions, feel free to jot them down as always. Until the next one, stay cool, stay free. Peace out.